The Senate will come to order. I ask everyone present to please rise and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. In the absence of clergy, let us bow our heads in a moment of silent reflection or prayer. Reading of the Journal.
In Senate, Monday, February 6, 2023, the Senate met pursuant to adjournment. The Journal of Friday, February 3, 2023 was read and approved. On motion, the Senate adjourned.
Without objection, the Journal stands approved as read. Presentations of petitions. Messages from the Assembly. Secretary will read.
Senator Claire moves to discharge from the Committee on Rules. Assembly Bill number 997 is substituted for the identical Senate Bill 1342, third reading count at 110. Senator Martinez moves to discharge from the Committee on Rules. Assembly Bill number 975 is substituted for the identical Senate Bill 2221, third reading count at 158. Senator Webb moves to discharge from the Committee on Rules. Assembly Bill number 976 is substituted for the identical Senate Bill 2226, third reading count at 163.
So ordered. Messages from the Governor. Reports of standing committees. Reports of select committees. Communications and reports from state officers. Motions and resolutions. Senator Gineris.
Good afternoon, Madam President. I move to adopt the resolution calendar with the exception of resolutions 321 and 386.
All those in favor of adopting the resolution calendar with the exceptions of resolution 321 and 386, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. The resolution calendar is adopted. Senator Gineris.
Can we begin with resolution 386 by Senator Fernandez? Read its title only and recognize Senator Fernandez.
The Secretary will read.
Senate Resolution 386 by Senator Fernandez, memorializing Governor Kathy Hochul to proclaim September 2023 as Recovery Month in the state of New York.
Senator Fernandez on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. There are over 260,000 New Yorkers who identify with the recovery community and recovery movement. At this very moment, millions of New Yorkers are suffering from substance abuse addiction. I thank Dr. Angela Smith Wilson and Friends of Recovery New York for bringing these voices to Albany today in our state capitol for Recovery Day. It is my honor to chair the committee that I chair, Alcohol and Substance Abuse. But more importantly, it's to use my position of power to fight for those struggling with addiction. The numbers of overdoses are soaring at an alarming rate. Every 90 seconds, a New Yorker dies from an overdose. That is more than car accidents, suicide, and homicides combined. When dealing with addiction, historically, the road to recovery has never been easy. And to make matters worse, addiction is repeatedly met with denial, misunderstandings, and stigma. Of course, one of our main goals is to combat drug addiction and prevent overdoses. But what about those living on a daily basis with substance abuse issues? Our mission is also about meeting people where they are and treating them with dignity and respect and offering a path to recovery through community resources because they are part of our community. The services and support we see today were hard fought, but without a doubt, there's so much more to be done. There is not one single solution to end addiction. And our loved ones in the recovery community know that compassionate care is multi-faced with taking a great deal of research, investment, and love. This resolution recognizes the journey this community has endured on the road to recovery. The path to healing has needed understanding, courage, and a will to end the crisis that continues to plague our communities. This resolution honors all the brave individuals who took the first step on the road to recovery. But the road to recovery is not one you take alone. Recovery Day belongs to the entire recovery community. Treatment providers, medical professionals, sponsors, friends, family members, and loved ones who give so much of their lives to helping those find that first step to recovery and to stay on it. I feel fortunate to be with you all today, and on behalf of the recovery community in the state of New York, throughout the country, and around the world. I'm honored to submit this resolution on the Senate floor for the Governor of New York to sign into law, honoring this Recovery Day and proclaiming September to be officially Recovery Month in the state of New York. Thank you.
Nobody else, right? The question is on the resolution. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The resolution is adopted. Senator Gineris.
And we now move to Resolution 321 by Senator Hinchey. Read it in its entirety and recognize Senator Hinchey.
The Secretary will read.
Senate Resolution 321 by Senator Hinchey, memorializing Governor Kathy Hochul to proclaim February 18th through 25th, 2023 as National FFA Organization Week in the state of New York. Whereas it is the sense of this legislative body to support and promote the historic and significant observance of National FFA Organization, formerly known as Future Farmers of America Week in the state of New York. And whereas, attended to such concern and in full accord with its longstanding traditions, this legislative body is justly proud to memorialize Governor Kathy Hochul to proclaim February 18th through 25th, 2023 as National FFA Organization Week in the state of New York. And whereas the National FFA Organization motto, learning to do, doing to learn, earning to live, living to serve, gives direction and purpose to those students who take an active role in succeeding in agricultural education and leadership. And whereas the National FFA Organization develops members' potential and helps them to discover their talent through hands-on experiences, given the tools to achieve real-world success, these members are future chemists, veterinarians, government officials, entrepreneurs, bankers, international business leaders, teachers, and premier professionals in many career fields. And whereas New York FFA has 161 chapters across New York and over 9,000 active students involved. And whereas the United States Department of Education provides leadership and helps set direction for the National FFA Organization as a service to state and local agricultural education programs. And whereas in accomplishing these missions, National FFA Organization has made a positive difference in the lives of students by developing their potential for premier leadership, personal growth, and career success through agricultural education, promoting citizenship, volunteerism, patriotism, and cooperation. And whereas agricultural education and National FFA Organization ensure a steady supply of young professionals to meet the growing needs in the science, business, and technology of agriculture. And whereas agricultural education in New York affects and instructs students in all parts of the state, and through their efforts, the officers and members of New York FFA are achieving increased levels of national recognition for themselves and their schools and communities, as well as New York agriculture. And whereas it is the custom of this legislative body to recognize and applaud the leaders of commerce and industry whose accomplishments contribute to the economic health and prosperity of the communities of the state of New York and to the quality of life of its people. Now, therefore, be it resolved that this legislative body pauses in its deliberations to memorialize Governor Kathy Hochul to proclaim February 18th through 25th, 2023 as National FFA Organization Week in the state of New York. And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution, suitably engrossed, be transmitted to the Honorable Kathy Hochul, Governor of the state of New York.
Senator Hinchey on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise today in support of my resolution proclaiming February 18th through 25th National FFA Organization Week here in the state of New York. Representing a rural district has a lot of incredible opportunities, but one that I am the most proud of is seeing our young people step up and step into a life of protecting our resources and protecting our agricultural lands and continuing the tradition that we have here in New York to make sure that we have a local food supply. In their motto, living to serve, is a phrase that I believe everybody in this body lives by as well. And so to see an organization filled with incredible, inspiring young people starting out with that motto, dedicated to their communities, dedicated to the future of our communities, is incredibly important and inspiring to me personally. I want to welcome members of our FFA chapters here in New York, specifically with a special shout out to two in my district, Greenville and Pine Plains, and recognize that there are over 9,000 students participating in 161 chapters of FFA across our state. And in just the last 5 years, 70 new FFA chapters have started. This is an incredible tradition and something that we need to make sure we are supporting here in New York, because as we see the future of the climate crisis and we see what's happening across our country, Here in the state of New York, we are going to be the breadbasket of our country once again, and making sure that we have young people who understand the importance of agriculture, who are stepping in to make sure we have that next generation protecting our food supply, supporting our animals, and really working to protect our environment through regenerative agriculture and climate resilient farming. That is the way that we survive, not just here in New York, but we support our entire country. And that's the work that members of the FFA are doing across our state every day. And so I rise to say thank you to the teachers who support our students in this incredible, important work. And thank you to our students for your leadership in this incredibly important space. With that, Madam President, I vote aye.
Thank you, Senator Hinchey. Senator Walczyk on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. The FFA was founded almost 100 years ago, and since then, generations of young leaders have utilized FFA to not only become agriculturalists and environmentalists, but leaders of all sorts. They're much more than future farmers of America. They are future biologists and future chemists, future veterinarians, future engineers, future entrepreneurs in America. There's 140 chapters here in New York State with over 7,000 active members. FFA's motto is learning to do, doing to learn, earning to live, and living to serve. It is because of students like them in the gallery, Sarah Downey, Luke Peck, their advisor from Carthage, Jen Phelps, and the advisor from Beaver River, Jarrett Jacobs, along with Sutton Barrett and Hannah Lighthall, that we should have hope for our future. I am blessed to represent these future leaders and so proud to support this resolution for the future farmers of America. I vote aye.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Helming on the resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. I really appreciate the opportunity to welcome our FFA student ambassadors to the state capitol. I'd like to take a moment and extend a special welcome to the FFA members of the Marion, Marcus Whitman, Southern Cayuga, and Tully school districts. I really and truly enjoyed our meeting and our conversation this morning. This is one of those very special days for me. I look forward to it every year. Hearing from our FFA members always fills me with great hope and optimism for our future. Many people are very familiar with FFA as an organization with a focus on agriculture, as a workforce development pipeline for farmers and an entry into ag careers. What many don't realize is FFA members are interested in a variety of career paths. Former FFA students that I've had the privilege of working with are now pursuing careers as teachers, doctors, scientists, business owners, and some are even proudly serving as members of the United States Armed Forces. I want to take a moment to applaud the FFA organization for encouraging the personal growth and success of individual members through ag education. I also want to take a moment to thank the wonderful teachers and mentors for their dedication and hard work, helping our next generation rise up and develop their own unique talents. To all of our FFA visitors, thank you again for taking the time to visit with individual legislators and sharing your views on important issues. Madam President, I am proud to support this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. To our guests, FFA members, I welcome you on behalf of the Senate to extend to you the privileges and courtesies of this House. Please rise and be recognized. The question is on the resolution. All in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The resolution is adopted. Senator Gineris.
Madam President, Senators Fernandez and Hinchey would like to open today's resolutions for co-sponsorship.
The resolutions are open to co-sponsorship. Should you choose not to be a co-sponsor of the resolutions, please notify the desk. Senator Gineris.
At this time, can you please recognize Senator Sanders for an introduction?
Senator Sanders for an introduction.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to congratulate the FFA students here, but I also want to speak to all of us and to a wider group in whole. I want to speak about an introduction that needs no introduction. I want to speak of when we think of great names that have come against the issue of the oppression of humanity, several names quickly come to mind. Lech Walesa in Poland, Martin Luther King in America, Gandhi in India. But we are blessed to have lived in the time of Mandela. We are blessed to have been born and raised in a time when we had a hero whose we could look up to. You know the story. Imprisoned for 27 years for struggling for what people in America take for granted, the question of freedom. That struggle did not break him. Indeed, he broke the oppressive system by his struggle. We live in a time when we were able to look up and say, you know what? Martin Luther King was right. Nobody can ride your back if you stand up straight. Nobody can do these things. And we had a living example of this in South Africa. So I am very honored today to have the grandson of the great leader in our presence. And not only is he in our presence, but he carries on the tradition. He is an activist and a writer. He understands that freedom is not free, that the struggle in South Africa is by no means over. And he has taken that message around the world. Madam President, I'm asking if we can give the courtesy of the Senate to our hero, the grandson of a great hero, Mr. Mandela, who is in our midst this afternoon. With your permission, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator. To our guest, Mr. Mandela, I welcome you on behalf of the Senate. We extend to you the privileges and courtesies of this House. Please rise and be recognized. Senator Gianaris.
Madam President, there will be an immediate meeting of the Rules Committee in room 332.
There will be an immediate meeting of the Rules Committee in room 332. The Senate will stand at ease. The Senate will come to order. Senator Gianaris.
Madam President, there's a report of the Rules Committee at the desk. Can we take that up, please?
Secretary will read.
Senator Stewart-Cousins from the Committee on Rules reports the following bills. Senate Print 1032 by Senator Jackson, Enactment of the Arts and Cultural Affairs Law. Senate Print 1192 by Senator Broussard, Enactment of the Education Law. Senate Print 1988 by Senator Jackson, Enactment of the Education Law. Senate Print 2140 by Senator Liu, Enactment of the Education Law. Senate Print 2235 by Senator Mayer, Enactment of the Civil Rights Law. Senate Print 2621 by Senator Kruger, Enactment of the State Finance Law. Senate Print 2622 by Senator Rhodes, Enactment of the Chapter of the Laws 2022. Senate Print 3385A by Senator Bridgeport, Enact to establish a task force on educator diversity in New York State. Senate Print 3408 by Senator Parker, Enactment of the Education Law. All bills report direct to third reading.
Move to accept the report of the Rules Committee.
All those in favor of accepting the Rules Committee signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The report is adopted. Senator Gianaris.
Let's take up the reading of the calendar, please.
Secretary will read.
Calendar number 99, Senate Print 1331 by Senator Hoylman Siegel, Enactment of the Social Services Law.
Read the last section.
Section 4, this act will take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart-Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 60.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 110, Assembly number 997 by Assemblymember Forrest, Enactment of the Social Services Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect on the same date and in the same manner as a chapter of the law 2022.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart-Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 60.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 158, Assembly number 975 by Assemblymember Buckington, an act to amend the penal law.
Read the last section.
Section 4, this act shall take effect on the same date and in the same manner as the chapter of the law 2022.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Senator Scarcella Stanton to explain her vote.
Thank you, Madam President. For over a decade, my predecessor, Senator Sabino, worked on this legislation with a constituent of ours, Marty Wimmer, to make it a felony for cops, firefighters, and EMTs to post victim photos on the internet. It took almost a decade to get this passed and to make sure that this would never happen to anybody else. This legislation rights the wrong done to Marty's daughter, Caroline, and ensures that victims of crime are treated with the respect they deserve. The bill known as Caroline's Law will keep her memory alive and protect the dignity of anybody who unfortunately faces this tragedy. I'm so proud to stand here to vote in support of this today and finally see the dignity given to Caroline, and I am so proud of the work that Marty Wimmer, our wonderful constituent who became like family to us through this process. It's great to see it finally get done, so thank you.
Senator Scarcella Stanton to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
Ayes 60.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 163, Assembly number 976 by Assemblymember Paulin, an act to amend the public health law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Senator Webb to explain her vote.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise today to explain my vote. As the chair of the Senate Women's Issues Committee, I am proud that my first bill passed in the Senate will move forward with the implementation of the statewide electronic tracking system for evidence collection kits, more commonly known as rape kits. I vote aye, and I encourage my colleagues to do the same.
Senator Webb to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 163, voted in the negative, Senator Walczak. Ayes 59, nays 1.
The bill is passed. Senator Giannaris.
Madam President, that was Senator Webb's first bill to pass the Senate.
Congratulations, Senator.
Calendar number 166, Senate Print 2229 by Senator Sanders, an act to amend the banking law.
Read the last section.
Section 4, this act shall take effect on the same date and in the same manner as the chapter of the law 2022.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 60.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 179, Senate Print 1419 by Senator Comrie, an act to amend the executive law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect on the 90th day of it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 179, voted in the negative, Senator O'Mara. Ayes 59, nays 1.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 180, Senate Print 1424 by Senator Bailey, an act to amend the executive law.
Read the last section.
Section 3, this act shall take effect on the 90th day of it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White. Second.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar number 180, those senators voted in negative are Senators Borrello, Griffo, Helming, Murray, Oberacker, O'Mara, Ort, and Walczak. Ayes 52, nays 8.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 181, Senate Print 1873 by Senator Webb, an act to amend the executive law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Giannaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Senator Webb to explain her vote.
Back again. I rise and thank you, Madam President. I am proud to stand today to speak in favor of my bill, which would make it very easier for minority and women-owned businesses in New York State to access critical resources during a state disaster emergency. New York is a leader in the nation in terms of providing economic empowerment and opportunities for MWBEs. And because we understand that supporting our MWBEs not only ensures that we have a vibrant and diverse small business community, but by creating opportunity, we also strengthen our economy. Madam President, I'm very proud to tell you that we have continued to enact strong support and lift up MWBEs despite disruptions from the pandemic. This legislation will ensure that our MWBEs are able to access the support they need in the event of a state disaster emergency so that they can continue to thrive, promote economic development and opportunity, and enabling them to grow and sustain our economy. Thank you, Madam President, and thank you to all my colleagues. I proudly vote aye.
Senator Webb to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 181, voted in the negative, Senator Walczak. Ayes 59, nays 1.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 187, Senate Print 702 by Senator Comrie, enactment of the New York State Urban Development Corporation Act.
Read the last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect on the 90th day after it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
Ayes 60.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 192, Senate Print 1862 by Senator Ryan, enactment of the Urban Development Corporation Act.
Read the last section.
Section 5, this act shall take effect on the 180th day after it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Senator Ryan to explain his vote.
Thank you, Madam President. As we're coming out of the pandemic and negotiating this era, we need to make sure that our small businesses are strong. And today there's a package of bills that really reaffirms our commitment to finding creative new ways to support our small businesses and grow our economy. Working to increase WMBE participation in New York has the obvious benefit of making a more equitable economy, but it's also a key strategy to ensure the continued growth of our economy. An economy can only work if the economy is open to everyone in the state. And I thank my colleagues for putting forward these important pieces of legislation to promote the WMBE and the economic growth. Other bills in this package today includes bills that assist businesses receiving grants from the federal government. The federal government will do the work to vet the companies to make sure that they have the most promising chances of growing, and the state will come in to leverage that federal money with some state money. So there's 2 bills on that. The other one is the New York State Innovation Voucher Program. Often there's a mismatch between the technology coming out of our universities and small businesses who are trying to apply that technology. The research facilities have a capability to help the small businesses, but there's just no way for them to interface. This program will solve those problems by helping to invest in projects that will bring both groups closer together. What all these bills have in common is they're proven methods to spur innovation and economic growth while growing local small businesses, help create jobs throughout the state, and the jobs will be open to every New Yorker. I'm thrilled to have the opportunity to bring these programs to New York, and I vote in the affirmative.
Thank you. Senator Ryan to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 192, voted in the negative, Senator Skoufis. Ayes 59, nays 1.
The bill is passed.
Calendar number 210, Senate Print 1824 by Senator Ryan, enactment of the Economic Development Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2 of this act shall take effect 1 year after it shall become a law.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Gianaris Kruger, Ort, Stewart Cousins, White.
Announce the results.
In relation to calendar 210, voted in the negative, Senator Skoufis. Ayes 59, nays 1.
The bill is passed. Senator Gianaris, that completes the reading of today's calendar.
Madam President, if we could return to motions for a moment, on behalf of Senator Liu, I offer the following amendments to calendar 287, Senate Print 2140, and ask that said bill retain its place on third reading calendar.
The amendments are received and the bill will retain its place in the third reading calendar. Senator Gianaris.
Is there any further business at the desk?
There is no further business at the desk.
Move to adjourn until tomorrow, Wednesday, February 8th at 11 a.m.
On motion, the Senate stands adjourned until Wednesday, February 8th at 11 a.m.